It's really a pleasure to join you virtually on the heels of the second G7 digital ministerial meeting. I think the conversations today have picked up on the crucial discussions that took place in Verona in March, where I was delighted to join the ministers in person for a productive set of discussions. Since then, the G7 under Italy's leadership has continued to play a critical role in the governance of AI. And that's both by advancing the Hiroshima AI process and working with the OECD on the development of a reporting framework, but also critically leading on the AI Hub for Sustainable Development. When I take a step back and really look around the landscape, it's clear to me that we are shifting into an important stage in our collective AI journey. After the initial excitement of generative AI spread around the world in late 2022 and early 2023, we're now moving into a different phase. We're deepening our collective understanding of what it means to put this technology to work, to lift everybody up, and put in place the right guardrails to adopt and deploy it with confidence. In my role, I've had the privilege of interacting with many of our customers around the globe. And what I've seen is that the discussions have moved very much from high-level explorations of the technology to a much more tangible set of expectations. And those expectations are around how they intend to put the technology to work in support of their missions. We also know that realizing this broad adoption of general purpose technologies like electricity, this takes many years or even decades to fully come into view. So at the very same time that we're seeing conversations about AI deepen, we're also seeing conversations around AI governance deepen. And I think that's especially true in Europe with the adoption of the AI Act earlier this year, and in the G7 with initiatives like the Hiroshima Code of Conduct reporting framework that has been advanced under the Italian presidency. So just as we expect there are many years or even decades ahead in supporting our customers on their AI adoption journey, we're also committed to contributing to what we expect will be a multi-year journey of building out and implementing an effective governance system. As we've been thinking through these questions ourselves at Microsoft, we've found that there are many lessons that we can learn from history on this topic, and that can help guide us at this point in our journey. So over the summer last year, as the Japanese presidency of the G7 was doing foundational work on the Hiroshima Process Code of Conduct, we decided to learn from the many other global governance institutions that have been put in place in other domains, like civil aviation, like climate, like nuclear technology. There were so many useful insights coming out of this project that we in fact published a book called Global Governance, Goals and Lessons for AI. This is freely available and we'd welcome you delving in on it. But I wanted to highlight just two here today that I think are really important for this discussion. The first is that in this modern global governance era, there will not be one international agency to rule them all. In fact, it will take the leadership of fora like the G7 to help set the norms, which can be progressively broadened and deepened. Second, it's very clear from the lessons of history that we need to have a clear view of what we're trying to accomplish through global governance. And for our part, we believe there needs to be three outcomes that we continually try to move towards. The first is that we need to make sure we have inclusive progress on AI, making sure that everyone around the world can benefit from this wave of transformation. Second, we need regulatory interoperability to ensure that the technology can get into the hands of those who need it most. And third, we need to make sure there is globally significant risk governance for those risks that cross borders. There are 4 key functions, in our opinion, that support achieving these 3 objectives. And these are 4 functions that we've come to understand by looking at those past analogies for global governance. So we see that we need to first strengthen access to resources for inclusive participation in the AI ecosystem. Second, we need to build technical understanding and scientific consensus. Third, we need to set and implement standards and codes of conduct. And fourth, we need to monitor for and manage globally significant safety and security risks. Now, as I say that, it might seem like a very ambitious vision for global AI governance, but the reality is we already see meaningful progress towards these 3 outcomes and these 4 functions that are essential under the Italian presidency of the G7. The Italian presidency has been making real progress on the iterative steps that are necessary to enable this journey, both in the short term, but also in the longer term. The reality is we need to get to a common understanding of what certain terms or regulatory concepts mean. We need to have a shared understanding of what we're going to do to assess whether organizations are meeting them. I know from my work at Microsoft over the past 6 years that going from a set of high-level responsible AI principles to a set of more detailed practices that very many different product groups can implement and my Office of Responsible AI can manage in a consistent way, it's no small project. And I believe that the work that the Italian presidency is leading this year and going from the formidable set of actions advanced in the Hiroshima process to a more detailed reporting framework that organizations of all sizes can engage with is also no small feat. What it really takes is iterative work.
Natasha, sorry, I don't wanna sound rude. I have to ask you to approach the end of your speech. Sorry.
Certainly. It takes an iterative approach to get to a model that is thorough and streamlined and aligns to the maximum extent possible with existing practices. I will conclude by saying that at Microsoft, we've long recognized that governance and adoption go hand in hand. The work of the G7 presidency is contributing to advancing both, and we're excited to see the statement coming out of the G7 ministerial that helps ensure that we are working towards this interoperability in a way that is practical, iterative, and that serves us for the long term. Thank you very much.